Hello, and welcome back to the weekly Oracle card reading with Kylie Savage Psychic. Now, you're here to receive a very special prescription for how to best work with the universal energies that will be available this week. And that's the week from the 17th of January to the 23rd of January 2020. If you're new to this channel, I would love for you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little bell to get notified. That way you'll know as soon as these videos are coming out. In the new year, I'm hoping to produce a few more videos, things like Oracle card deck reveals. I'm really excited to see if Colette Baron-Reid brings out some new decks this year. Also book reviews and, videos on tips and things like that if you're a developing psychic or how to read Oracle cards. And I may also touch on a little bit of mediumship and healing. If you have a topic that you're really interested in and you would like me to make a video about it, please get in touch. You can email me or visit my Facebook site or Instagram, or just leave a comment at the end of this video. And I'll be sure to read all those comments and get back to you and look at answering your questions. Okay, I'm reading today from Colette Baron-Reid's very first deck, which is called the Wisdom of Avalon. It's still available, and this was the first deck that I ever bought, and I still love it. It's my go-to deck for all my readings for my clients. Probably the next one after that would be Wisdom of the Oracle, and I teach with that deck as well. If you go and join Colette Baron-Reid's site, her Oracle clubs or schools, you'll find that that's the deck she teaches with as well. I'd have to say Wisdom of the Oracle is probably the most spiritual deck that's available. Yet going back, Wisdom of the Avalon is brilliant for beginners. It has archetypes, has major themes, elements, things like that, and it will give you a great foundation and help you, get off to a start. The guidebook's really easy to follow, packed with information, so it will, get you started doing some readings. But if you ever have any questions about Oracle cards, or you are a beginner yourself, please get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. Okay, so I have 6 cards. If you would like the reading to be a little bit more personal and relevant to you, you can go ahead now and pick a number between 1 and 6. So just let that number come to you intuitively, and when I read that card, just know that that message is a little bit more pertinent to what's going on for you this week. Okay, so we have 4 cards from the Wisdom of Avalon, and our first card, which is called the Anchor card, is the Frog. We have the Water Fairy next, so I will talk a little bit about water and about the possible meanings of this card. So these are prescriptions. It's like a psychic weather report. What do you need to take out with you this week? Do you need an umbrella or do you need sunscreen? And it's talking about the energies that are available for the people who will see this reading, and how they can be best prepared to work with them. It's all about going with the flow and not having resistance to what is, especially when we're manifesting and co-creating with the divine. Okay, so the frog. He's such a little cutie, this one. The frog says cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. So the Anchor card, the foundation sort of message for this week, or the most important message, because all the other cards are just adding extra layers, more information, clarification, insights about this Anchor card. So what the frog is saying is we are cleaning house, and that can be cleaning house literally, like decluttering. It's a great time to be doing that, anytime really. You might be moving house as well, so you're looking at decluttering, things like that. Could be decluttering at work, or when you go back to work, your office space or your work goals, things like that. But what it really is about, frog, when we are cleaning house, is it's also talking about ourself. I mentioned last week, if you see a house in a dream, the house refers actually to yourself. So, it's really interesting if the house has upper stories or lower stories, if you're down in the basement or you're up in the attic, what the house is constructed from, all that sort of thing. But the frog is saying it is time to really release, release the emotional baggage, release the things that block us and get in our way from where we want to be, what we want to co-create and manifest. And it can be, like when I see this, the frog, it can be an emotional flood. I often find once a client gets to me, they're right at the tipping point. They've sort of been, suffering or persisting with a situation or being challenged by something, or especially in a relationship, something like that. And they're getting right to that breaking point or tipping point, which sounds nicer, doesn't it? And, the big emotional release is building up and the flood is coming. There also can be a literal flood. Thank God we've had some rain in Australia. It's fantastic. We had a really good shower yesterday, which is actually the first heavy storm that I can remember in ages. We've been in really, deep drought in New South Wales, even in the Sydney Basin, and most of Australia was drought declared. And, we've had the terrible bushfires, so now, thank goddess, we've got the rain. But yeah, so it can be a literal flood. If you get this card in a reading, I would say go and check your plumbing, check your outside drains, things like that, and just kind of flood proof your house a bit. But it can be an emotional flood. So you've reached the point with whatever's going on, and this is, the dam wall breaks. And I really look at this as a positive thing. Because, often if we have been suffering or we've been in resistance or, we're putting up with too much crap and, we reach that limit and then the dam wall breaks, we have an emotional outburst and we're in tears and then there's a release. And, often it's like the thing that we fear most happening hasn't happened. We fear breaking down or showing weakness or being vulnerable or giving in to emotion. And, they're just kind of false ideas we've been raised with. So it's really safe and it's a really positive thing to let go, to experience this emotional release, to declutter your house, to have a good cleanse. Maybe you want to do the detoxing or, change your diet, things like that. This is a great time to do that. So keep the Kleenex around, keep a couple of boxes of tissues around. Know that other people around you might be experiencing the emotional flood and the release too. So you might be called to be a support for them. But know that, and especially, the end of last year and into this year, we're still in that kind of new year phase. So you might just be continuing to release things from 2019. But know that, if all this is going on, it's okay. It's a positive step, as in part of a process of evolving, growing, shifting and changing. And if you find yourself in a flood of tears, just go with it. And all the best if you're decluttering. I started watching Marie Kondo again, tidying up. God, I love that show. It's so good. I've got my daughter into it. Yes, so the water fairy. If this card was to turn up for a client of mine, the reading, I really would be very gently asking them, what's going on in your emotional life? How in control of your emotions do you feel? Is there a situation that's kind of become overwhelming, especially emotionally? Is it time to go and talk with a psychologist or a counselor, trusted friend, spiritual advisor? Is it time to kind of unburden whatever is going on? What's affecting your emotional life? Do you feel like you're at a block with something at an emotional level? Very often it's relationships that come up with these cards, but it could be around, as you said, big things like moving house or changing jobs or decluttering or, children leaving the home, whatever is going on for you. What you need to know is the message really is not to resist. What we resist persists. That is a solid universal law. And if you're interested in universal laws, I'd direct you to Dan Millman first and the laws of spirit. But there's so much information on universal laws. Anyway, so the thing is not to dig in, not to be rigid and resistant to change. To just, let that dam wall break, go with the emotional flow and, be like water. The reed in the river that doesn't bend breaks. So, I was reminded of that last week. or probably earlier this week, and it's very pertinent. So, we're in such times of, fast change, and emotions are so heightened that, and sometimes, we need to have that law of non-detachment, a little bit more detachment, sit back, sit back and bring everything back here so we don't get so emotionally involved. But the water fairy is very much about, as you said, learning to go with the flow. What else you say? Yep, feelings and emotions. The other thing too is water as a healer. So perhaps, you've been doing the decluttering or the emotional system, dam will burst, that sort of thing. The emotions were really heightened, that all came to a head. Use water for healing. So, bathing, going to the sea, in the shower, doing the white light cleansing, listening to rainwater, music that's very soothing, and allow yourself to be soothed. The water fairies come in saying, it's also very big period of reflection, still coming out of, last year, looking into the new year, reflecting on our emotional lives as well. How do we want to express our emotions this year? And, I find that I was never very emotionally mature. I had to learn all of that for myself. And that, how your emotional maturity and your emotional intelligence really impacts the relationship you have with yourself, the relationship you have with the divine, and the relationships you have with other people, your social development. And I really feel like emotional development is a big topic this year. It's a big topic, because when you see, a lot of people in social media or the media expressing themselves, there can be same thing, the polarity. Some people seem so emotionally mature, so composed, so well put together. Their arguments so well thought out, so sane and rational and in control. And other people, we seem so immature, especially when we lash out at others, in anger or hatred or bigotry. Some of our leaders don't display a lot of emotional intelligence. And I feel like that's what the world's asking us to do. Well, it's always asking us, to grow and change and to evolve for the best. So think about emotional maturity, how you express yourself emotionally, the emotional life that you have, how you conduct yourself in the world. And is that an important theme for you this year? And know if it is that you have a lot of support. There is certainly so many resources out there to help you to improve your emotional life and to gain emotional intelligence and maturity. Okay, we have the dog here. So this will be our future possible outcome. And when I go back and look at the frog and decluttering your house, cleansing that, the things that you want to hang on to, the things that you don't want to let go of, think about your loyalty to those things. And are they things that you want to remain loyal to? The other thing is, if we're talking about relationships here, if that message makes more sense for you, then often it's because in a relationship, loyalty has, come under the spotlight and it's been questioned. Either your loyalty to your partner or their loyalty to you or the loyalty you both have to the relationship. If it's a work issue, look at how happy you are in your work situation. Is your loyalty being rewarded? Now, the dog is all about loyalty. It's about discipline. It's about being our own best friend. It's also about unconditional love. So if you're going through a really emotional time at the moment, stay loyal to yourself. Stay faithful to yourself and your values, your beliefs, your morals, your ethics. The things you really care about and are passionate about. Stay loyal to that. Keep the faith with yourself. And also, just know that we're all living and learning. We're all doing this. But the thing is, if your values say, are being really scrutinized, know that you need to be loyal to yourself. Don't throw yourself under the bus, by people pleasing or, being wishy-washy or saying yes when you mean no and all that. The dog really encourages us to be loyal to ourselves. And I always look at it that way first. But definitely in relationships, friendships, all of these things are coming under question. And these could be the source of this, big emotional upheaval at the moment. So we're really looking at what we really need, what we can't live without, and what it's time to let go of. And as you move forward with that, please just be super kind to yourself. Give yourself that unconditional love. And if you're having a disagreement with somebody, know that at your core, we are all one. So you can love the part of them that's you. And you would love it if they would love the part of you that's them. And know that that part is unconditional love. It is, it's pure and it's beautiful and it's lovely. And, it's the other part, the personality, we're having the difficulties with. And it's because we're so attached to identity and to holding our own position that we get into conflicts with other people. And we feel like if we're in the wrong, we're selling ourselves out. Somehow we'll be, our whole psyche will be damaged, which is totally, just a false idea and a false belief. So stay true to yourself. Keep the faith here. When you're working out conflicts with people, just look at it, in that way. You can love the part of them that is you. You are them, they are you. You don't lose faith in people either, I want to say. We're all becoming more emotionally mature, or maybe we're not all doing it, but that's a general aim. We're all kind of in this together though. We really are. And we are at different times we can all behave in different ways. So as you said, I feel like we need to encourage this oneness and not the separatedness. Oh, dear, I'm really struggling today with my words. But yeah, just to see that we are all the one being. And you can have a difference of opinion, but that doesn't, we don't have to fight to be right. And often that will just cause the conflict to go on and on. So, it's a really great saying that I've learnt from some really wise people is, you may be right. An argument takes two people. So just concede. Yeah, because you know what? They may be right. Somewhere down the track, you may argue exactly their point to somebody else. So, yeah, they may be right. But yeah, with the dog, look at loyalty, look at faith, unconditional love, things like that. And just be your own best friend. I think I already said that. Now, this is exciting. Merlin is the fourth card. So if you pick number 4, this is your card. And you'd be like, yay! If you're my client, I'd be like, yes, this is an excellent card. I know your life's changing. Now, the thing is, just because it is changing doesn't mean, that this change is easy. And because of these other earlier cards, I don't think it is easy. We just want to hang on to so many things, stuff, ideas, opinions, being right. And, and I keep getting this message about emotional maturity. So the Merlin is here to alchemize the situation. This card tells us more of the story and it relates to each of the other cards. So when you're looking at decluttering or moving or releasing a job or a relationship or a friendship or something like that, just look at it like something positive is going to come out of this. This is a sign that I'm changing, my life is changing, and it's changing for the good. Sometimes things need to be stripped away, they need to be pared down to, the barest elements so that we can see what's really going on and what's really important to us, what's really valuable, and what we really want to take with us as we go forward. And as you said, often it's not about learning more, doing more, having more. It is about taking things off our plate. Cheryl Richardson, I think, has a great quote about that. And I must admit, as I'm getting older, I just want to simplify things more and more. Coming through the bushfires, that was one of the biggest insights, was I only want things in my house that are quick and easy to take with me. I've really learnt what's really important, what I can't live without, what's irreplaceable, and at the end of the day, that's family members and my pets. My daughter was sharing a book, I think it's some Japanesey or something like that, and it was talking about how people in Japan have very few items. This is a generalization too, just out of the book. because they've lived in earthquake zones for so long. So, a lot of things are breakable. So they've learnt not to have lots of clutter, lots of stuff, because you've got to get your stuff and get out. You want to be able to quickly do that. Okay, so Merlin, alchemy, justice, and balance. The other thing is, after the big emotional flood, the tipping point, the dam breaks, this is about rebalancing, because things have built up and they've become out of balance. A situation has become untenable. It's pushed you to your limits. It's causing stress. So, Merlin's here to tip the balance back that way, and will come with this emotional release, or the decluttering, the walking away from things that are no longer needed and necessary. So no, this is about bringing things back into balance, and that's positive too. So the changes may not be easy. It doesn't mean they're not good. Okay, and our fifth card, if you pick number 5, is Mookaite Jasper. Now, if I was just talking to women, which I mostly am, I really would be happy to see this card, because along with the emotional release, things affecting us emotionally, then this is the healing for that. And this crystal is connected to the sacral chakra. And so Mookaite, I love it. It's very grounding. It's very good for the liver, the kidneys, I'm not sure, sorry, if it's the endocrine system, not a doctor, but very cleansing and healing for that. Very grounding and stabilizing, and it's about rebalancing your energy. The other good thing about this, I wrote some notes, was it's about risk and adventure, and the red, is very vibrant. It's about strength and encouraging you to take on new things. Have new experiences, to experience the unknown, and to claim personal power. I love that. There's heaps more information, the Crystal Spirits Oracle from Colette Baron-Reid, a lot more information in the guidebook. But I really like this because you've got the frog here and Mookaite here, and this is about rebalancing too. If you feel so drawn to it, Mookaite is called also Australian Jasper. It's readily available in Australia. It's not very expensive. Try and ethically source it. It's probably one of the stones here in Australia we can more ethically source because it comes from our country. If you're watching overseas, I'm sure you could still get it. And definitely get some and work with it. Think about it for grounding, healing the sacral energy, connecting you with the divine feminine and your own feminine energy, and as you said, in feminine personal power. And think about it supporting and assisting you as you go through this emotional thing. I sort of think of water as, the blues, the greens, the lighter colours, and the reds on the other side of that, the contrast. So it's a really good sign of coming back into balance. Whatever is going on for you this week, know you're going to come through it, and you're going to experience the energies that, are the opposite of that. So you will come back into balance. You'll find your feet. You'll be super grounded. It'll be all good. Okay, number 6. If you pick number 6, your card is Amethyst, also from the Crystal Spirits Oracle. Now, I love this. Amethyst is a fantastic crystal if you're just getting into crystals or if you're developing your psychic abilities. It is the crystal that connects you with your intuition and your third eye chakra, which is all about your clairvoyance or psychic vision. Now, I find it a very protective stone as well. The message in the guidebook for the conscious universe, manifesting as crystals, wants you to know it's okay to let go of the familiar. So as you said, we've had this big cleansing, the decluttering, the releasing, whatever's going on with that. And now we're being encouraged, we're being empowered by the Mookaite, the message there, and we're being encouraged not to just rush back into what's old and familiar, because then we could just build the same house of cards. Last week was the same sort of message. It's important to stay in that in-between stage, where we don't know. We're in uncertainty. We're in unknown territory. And Amethyst is saying it's empowering you also to, stay in that place, even if it's uncomfortable, because you don't want to run back into what's familiar. You want to take risks. You want to move forward. You want to be led by your insight, your intuition, your psychic vision. You want to be very well connected to that. and to spirit, and you want to be guided forward into something new. All making sense to me. I trust that it's making sense to you. If you ever have any questions about these readings, or you'd like to know, more about my process or the oracle cards that I've shared, please get in touch with me. I'd love that. I'm wishing you so many blessings on your week. I'll catch you here again next week. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.